Hi, my name is Jake. I make Pathfinder 2 videos. We're continuing our series of the archetypes, starting with the Advanced Player's Guide. Our next archetypes today are going to be the Celebrity, the Dandy, and the Dragon Disciple. Let's get started. You can take the Celebrity dedication at 2nd level, and it gives you 2 features. One of them is that you can earn more money in the Earn Income downtime activity by a little bit. It gives you +1 to your roll if it's harder than your level. So it basically makes the roll the same, but you earn a little more because you're a celebrity. Okay. The other ability it gives you is Upstage. It's a reaction that if you see an enemy using a skill, you can respond to their skill with using the same skill on your own. If you critically succeed on your check using the same skill, then you get +1 to your attack rolls, perception checks, and saving throws and skill checks until the end of your next turn. If you only normal succeed, then you get the same bonuses, but only if your opponent failed their check. You're just trying to one-up them. It's sort of like a very arrogant celebrity saying, let me show you how it's done. The level 4 celebrity archetype feat is Never Tire. It's a reaction. It's only useful in response to gaining the fatigued condition. You hold off that fatigued condition for the next minute. And then, however long that fatigue condition would normally last, the timer begins after that minute. The main problem with this, well, I guess it's twofold. One, fatigued isn't really that big of a deal. You get -1 to AC and saving throws. Okay, yeah, that sucks a little, but is it worth a feat to avoid only for a minute? And that's the other thing. Usually when fatigued comes up, it could be from a spell effect, but most of the time it's from traveling. And granted, when you are suffering from the fatigued effect, you also can't do exploration activities, but you would probably only use this Never Tire ability in the middle of combat or in a tense situation where you would need it immediately because it only helps for a minute. There's one thing that Never Tire could help, and that's the Barbarian feat Furious Finish. You can use this ability to add +1 to your damage rolls for this round, equal to the number of rounds your rage would last, and then your rage ends and you're fatigued. You still can't rage immediately after that because you still have to wait a minute before you can rage again because that's how barbarians work. So it can be used to save yourself the -1 to AC, and it doesn't matter. This is not worth a feat. It also requires that you're observed by at least 3 creatures who aren't enemies, but that's going to happen. You're in a party. So it could theoretically be useful, but just not very. I don't think it's worth a feat. Maybe a skill feat. The level 6 celebrity feat is Mesmerizing Gaze. It takes 2 actions, and you can mesmerize someone. That means that they get -2 to their perception checks and skill checks, and they can't use anything that requires concentration. So this could screw up a spellcaster, but it only lasts for 1 turn. You can do it every turn, but if they ever succeed, or if anybody takes a hostile action toward them, they're immune for a day. So this could be useful out of combat. It's sort of cool for storytelling. So maybe an NPC could have this. Again, it's just not worth a feat. Sure, it's kind of a cool ability. Like, if you could endlessly do this every round, and they could never become immune for a day, then it could be a little useful, but it's not like they're just standing there paralyzed, stunned by your magnificence. They just have a little bit of a penalty. They're not even necessarily friendly to you. They're just a little bit distracted, which probably isn't worth 2 actions for you to do. Anyway, it's crap. Moving on. Command Attention is actually an interesting ability. It's level 10 feat. It takes 1 action to use. You command the attention of everyone around you within 30 feet. They all pay attention to you. And if an enemy within the area is trying to use a gaze ability on someone besides you, they have to make a saving throw to not just target you. So it's a good way to draw the anger of a Medusa. Also, if anyone, not just allies, if anyone in this area has to make a saving throw versus visual effects, then they act as though they got 1 degree of success higher than they actually got on the roll. It helps allies and enemies. So, okay, depending on the situation, that might be helpful. Maybe not, though. One interesting thing about this is that you are providing a distraction, so your allies could take the hide check if they want to. I gotta say, the one thing that I like about this is that there's no restriction on how often you can do this. You can do this every round. Every time you use it, it lasts until the end of your next turn. So you could use it every turn if you want to, and you'll keep people's attention on you. It's mainly just going to be distracting, but if it were a social situation, this could be really cool. Like, talk about making an entrance. You walk into the ball, and it's like the princess ball, and you're just like this lowly adventurer, and you get all the attention of everyone around you for several seconds, no matter what else is happening in the room, within 30 feet. So it could be cool for roleplay. It's a good social skill feat. This is a feat. It's still not, like, it's just not, okay, overall, the celebrity is just not powerful enough to compete with other archetypes. If all of these, or most of them, were skill feats, maybe. If they extended the duration of them, then maybe. If they made Fascinate with this particular ability harsher, like you can't take your eyes off them, as if they were actually magically charmed, that would be cool and maybe a reason to take this archetype by itself. As it is, you can do better. It's cool for NPCs. It adds a lot of flavor. Maybe everyone in your group gets this and they're all a traveling troupe of celebrities. Then it'd at least be fair. You all get a crappy archetype. There are a couple of uses, but not enough, and apparently I'm babbling about the celebrity a lot. I could just keep talking about it. Moving on. The dandy is all about being up on society, being a mover and shaker, an influencer in the town, being somewhat of a celebrity. I don't know, these two things go well together, if you could take both. A dandy is all about being posh, knowing the right thing to say, and knowing how to, like, subtly diss someone in public. It's really about manipulating public image. The dandy dedication at level 2. In order to take it, you have to be trained in diplomacy, and if you were already trained in deception and society, you automatically get those upgraded to expert. If you didn't have them, then you become trained in them. So you'd probably want to start with them trained so you get the automatic skill boost at second level. That's pretty cool by itself. And the first archetype level, second level feat is cool. It gives you the ability to influence rumor. It's harder to do on a larger city, easier to do on a smaller town. But any rumor that you hear, you can twist to your own benefit. So you can not start rumors, but you can modify rumors that exist to your benefit. That's a cool downtime social ability. You could make things easier for your party as a whole because you can manipulate a whole city. I could also see like a vampire lord having this. Okay, I'm thinking like a GM. Fine, but for a player, it's also really cool and fun, and frankly messes with GM's plans, but that's also fun sometimes. Distracting Flattery at level 4 is a reaction that you can only use if your ally has made a target's attitude decrease because of their actions. Usually it's because of a failed roll, like a failed diplomacy roll. You essentially try to cover for them using a deception check. If you succeed, the best result is that the target's attitude doesn't decrease. It stays the same. However, if you critically fail, it can actually get much worse. Still, this is just a fun role-playing thing again. Like, oh no, he didn't mean to say that. What he meant to say was this. Yes, and you should stop talking. Get behind me. The other level 4 feat option is probably the one that most people would pick. Gossip Lore. It's bardic lore, based on rumors and gossip. It's the same kind of recall knowledge check that bardic lore would require. Unfortunately, it's difficult to increase it. If you have legendary proficiency in society, you gain expert proficiency in gossip lore, but that's the only way you can increase gossip lore. Still, for the first 10 levels, it's really useful. Even after that, it could be useful. This is really good, actually. This archetype started off like messing with people's expectations, and then gives you bardic lore. In fact, it's just like you're a really pompous bard. Cool. Fabricated Connections is also pretty cool, but I think I would take the other level 7 feat. Anyway, both of them are skill feats, so that's nice. It's only a skill feat, but it still gives you something cool and useful. You have to have Master in Deception in order to take Fabricated Connections, but it allows you to use Deception instead of Diplomacy or Survival to earn an income, make an impression, request, or subsist. So basically you BS your way through a town, getting services that you need, or food, or clothing, or shelter, or whatever. It's just a way of manipulating people into believing that you are something you're not. I know a lot of people who have this in real life. Anyway, it's cool, but the other level 7 feat, in the right setting, in the right situation, is a lot more fun. Party Crasher. Again, it's a skill feat, so great, you don't have to spend a whole feat on it. You attend all the fashionable society parties, no matter how exclusive they may be. Anytime you encounter a social event you would ordinarily be denied access to, you can spend 1d4 hours to secure entry, without need for a skill check. This is everything that isn't a secret party. So you can be invited to very public, rich, noble, or royal parties, even if you would never in your life warrant an invitation. You manage to finagle a date for yourself who is already invited to the party, so you go along with them, or you like get in good with the wait staff and they just let you in the back door, or you pay off the person at the door to let you in. This is cool, and it can be a lot of fun. I would totally allow players to use this to actually try to get into secret parties and like the cult gathering. Yeah, I'd make it pretty hard to do. Like, you'd have to also make a skill check to get in, but that would be fun. Just like allowing them to infiltrate into societies where they should not be, where if they get found out, they are screwed. That would be fun. Why wouldn't you do that? Let's just include that here. The Dragon Disciple is all about being close to and emulating dragons, or learning how they work to be able to hunt them down really efficiently. You gain draconic powers throughout this. There are restrictions on who can take this, but let me cover the first ability first. The Dragon Disciple dedication that you can take at 2nd level gives you +1 on any saving throws versus sleep or paralyzation effects, and you also get elemental energy resistance equal to half your level based on what dragon type you choose. If you already are a draconic blood sorcerer, then it's that bloodline, that dragon type, whatever you chose. In fact, that factors into a lot of features of this archetype. If you already chose something with sorcerer, you have to stick with it throughout this. The restriction that I mentioned is that in order to take this archetype at all, you have to be a draconic bloodline sorcerer, or a dragon instinct barbarian, or a kobold with the dragon scaled or spell scaled heritage. No one else can take it at all. However, I would ask my GM about that, because that's super restrictive, and no one out of those listed that can have access, no one gains all the benefits of this archetype except kobolds, for a variety of reasons. So I would ask my GM if you could just like be close to dragons, even though you're like, I don't know, a human enigma bard. The level 4 archetype feat is Claws of the Dragon. You gain dragon claws. They do 1d6 damage. They are agile, finesse, and unarmed in the brawling group, and they do slashing damage. If you're a draconic sorcerer, then if you cast dragon claws, the damage does d6s instead of d4s. And again, if you're a draconic bloodline sorcerer, you increase the resistance that you gain from that spell to 10 at 1st level, 15 at 5th level, and 20 at 9th level. Another option you have at level 4 is Draconic Scent. You get the Imprecise Scent ability within 30 feet. The GM could say that person smells really bad, so you can smell them from even further away, or you're downwind, so you get an increase in your range too. This is cool, but I don't think it's really necessary to be part of the Dragon Disciple archetype. It's useful, but there are other archetype feats at this level that are better. Dragon Arcana at level 4 is one of those abilities that I said doesn't help everyone. It definitely helps those 2 kobolds I mentioned. Spell Scale and Dragon Scaled. It gives you the Draconic Bloodlines granted spells added to your spell list, which a Draconic Bloodline sorcerer already gets, and barbarians can't use because they can't cast spells. The spells are Shield, True Strike, Resist Energy, Haste, Spell Immunity, Chromatic Wall, Dragon Form, Mask of Terror, Prismatic Wall, and Overwhelming Presence. They're good spells, but if you're already Draconic Bloodline sorcerer, it doesn't mean anything. If you're already the Dragon Instinct Barbarian, it doesn't mean anything. Again, this should be opened up, so talk to your GM. Maybe you can take this anyway. The other level 4 option for feat is Scales of the Dragon. You grow scales across your body. When you're unarmored, it gives you +2 to AC with a dexterity cap of +2. Your resistance from Dragon Disciple Dedication increases to 3 plus half your level instead of just half your level, so you get a little bump. That's really nice. That's probably the one that I would take out of all the level 4 options. Breath of the Dragon at level 8. You can use a powerful breath weapon, much like the dragon you emulate. You get the Dragon Breath Sorcerer Bloodline spell and a focus pool of 1 focus point. If you already have a focus pool, it increases by 1 point. Again, doesn't help barbarians at all. And the Draconic Bloodline Sorcerer already has it. Real quick before we go on, I want to point out that the Dragon Breath spell does 5d6 damage. The area of effect and type of damage depends on the dragon you chose. So it's cool. Wings of the Dragon at level 12. You can manifest Dragon Wings, so you gain the Dragon Wings Sorcerer Bloodline spell and a focus pool of 1 focus point. If you already had a focus pool, you increase your focus pool by 1 focus point. So you can fly at level 12. Sorcerers and wizards can already do that by casting spells. So it's nice if you're not a wizard or sorcerer and you're kobolds, like kobold clerics can fly now. Level 14 Shape of the Dragon. It allows you to, once per day, cast the 7th level Dragon Form spell as an innate arcane spell. The spell automatically heightens to 8th level at 16th level. It starts off at 7th level as making you large and giving you a variety of abilities. At 8th level casting, it makes you huge. So those things are cool. For reference, the spell generally gives you an AC of 18 plus your level, 10 temporary hit points. It changes your speed to 40 feet and gives you a fly speed of 100 feet. Gives you resistance 10 against the damage type of your breath weapon. Gives you dark vision and imprecise scent of 60 feet. It also gives you a breath weapon, and it gives you a minor ability depending on the dragon type you chose. Like you might get swim speed, or burrow speed, or climb only on ice, which sucks. Don't choose a white dragon. Anyway, so these are cool. Your athletics modifier changes to 23, unless yours was higher. It's nice to be a dragon. That's what this archetype is all about. You're a dragon. Disciple's Breath at level 16 is so much fun. For 2 actions, you can use your breath weapon without spending focus points. You have to wait 1d4 rounds before using it again, but it always does 96 damage, and you can just breathe fire or lightning or acid all day long. That's awesome. At level 18, you get Mighty Dragon Shape. It allows you to use Dragon Shape once every hour instead of once per day. It only lasts for a minute. So basically, as often as you want, you're going to be a dragon, definitely in every combat. As a dragon, you also still have hands, so you can still cast spells if you want to. All in all, the Dragon Disciple archetype is really similar to the prestige class that started in 3rd edition, the Dragon Disciple. This is better, and it's not as clunky, but it's too restrictive. The abilities are really fun. It's totally a strong dragon theme and flavor, but it's so limited in who can take it and who benefits from it. Sure, you can be a barbarian and take all of these. You don't benefit from any of the things that give you access to more spells, but it does let you breathe fire. That's neat, and become a big dragon. But I think for a barbarian, there are other archetypes that would help more. All I have to say is, ask your GMs, if you're listening, modify it a little bit to allow anybody to take it, and then it's a lot of fun. Because then all of the abilities are usable. None of them go to waste. So So that's cool. And those are the archetypes we're going to cover today. Thank you for joining me. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down so I know how to improve. And that being said, if you do have ideas or criticism about how I can improve, leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And there are other requested archetypes coming out in future videos very soon. If you have any requests, also put it in the comments. There's a link to our website in the description. That also has builds based on these videos that I've made. And if you would like to see the first video that is in the series of the archetypes, it is here. Or if you want to see the previous video that is in the archetype series, it's here. And thank you for watching. I will see you soon. That's a threat.